It's not every day where every single tropical entity is about to affect land or is already affecting land, and today is one of those days. I'm MWG. Let's get right into the tropical update where we now have the remnants of Bora, or we could say invest Bora in other words. In the last video, I said that Bora was falling apart, and it completely was. The center was completely exposed, but yet the National Hurricane Center was giving it 50-mile-per-hour winds. I was strongly disagreeing with that because how could a bare center with no thunderstorms around it be 50 miles per hour? It's more like 30 if anything. So as the hours went by, the National Hurricane Center finally classified it as a tropical wave as of yesterday. Which means Bora was still a tropical storm when it just slipped past Guadalupe and Dominica, which Dominica got directly hit by Hurricane Maria at Cat 5 status last year, and that was ridiculous. Just seeing that big fat 40-mile eye just going over the entire island, ooh, that was crazy. But when Bora just glistened past these islands, it wasn't a tropical storm. The center had barely any thunderstorms, and it's actually starting to get to act together kind of right now. As of right now, Bora is still just an invest. It's called Invest Bora, but right now its circulation is just southwest to Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico did get some heavy rain for a lot of hours, and it's still going to continue over the next couple of hours. Bora right now is definitely packing a lot more convection right now than it was for the past 2 days. It's kind of getting to act together, but it's going to get destroyed by Hispaniola in about 12 hours. But talking about Puerto Rico, 24,000 homes and businesses went out with power because of Invest Bora. Normally, if this tropical wave with these gusty winds would just hit, let's say, like Miami, Florida, which is in the United States, 24,000 homes would not be out. But with Puerto Rico, their utility infrastructure is nowhere near the United States, and especially after Irma and Maria last year, their infrastructure is very, very poor right now, and they're still in the rebuilding phase. So Puerto Rico does not need anything, but yet here comes tropical wave Bora, and that knocks out 24,000 homes. And just to make it crystal clear, it's knocking out power, not the actual home. That would be scary. But Bora's going to be completely done affecting land after it brings about some heavy rain and gusty winds to Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. After that, it's going to pull away from the Caribbean, heading down into the Atlantic Ocean, and head to the north and out to sea. But the interesting thing with Bora right now is that it's not going to affect any more land except for Puerto Rico and Hispaniola over the next 24 hours. But after that 24 hours, it's going to head out to sea, and it might affect Bermuda, but we'll have to see about that. But it might just become a tropical storm once again. The National Hurricane Center is giving a 10% chance over the next 48 hours of Invest Bora becoming a tropical depression once again, and a 50% chance over the next 5 days. And if we look at the intensity guidance models and all the models overall, the European model, it's looking like it's going to become a tropical storm yet again. But at that point in Bora's lifetime, it's not going to matter. Even if it becomes a hurricane, it's just going to affect the fish. That's it. No more land for Bora. But once again, Bora isn't the only tropical system in the Atlantic. The Atlantic is giving us another tropical system, and this is soon to be Hurricane Chris. To be transparent, the National Hurricane Center is releasing a new advisory in about 20 minutes, so this data I'm about to tell you could just be lagged a little bit. But as of right now, Tropical Storm Chris is a 60-mile-per-hour storm. That's what the hurricane hunters are finding. But looking at that satellite imagery, it's soon looking to become a hurricane. Chris right now is just meandering just east of South Carolina and North Carolina. So what Chris is doing there is just a little bit rain from time to time and some heavy rip currents. One person actually died along the North Carolinian coast due to the rip currents that Chris is producing. That's the only truly big effect that is going to the Carolinas. The wind and the rain, not an issue. But those rip currents and waves of up to 5 feet that Chris are producing are pretty much a little issue there. But at least Chris is just staying offshore. If it were to just meander right next to the shore, that would be a major worry with the flooding. It could probably dump up to 30 inches since Chris isn't moving at all. If we take a look at the satellite imagery for Chris right now, it's trying to develop that eye wall, and it's almost gotten it all across its eye, and it's almost trying to clear out the eye to kind of officially be a hurricane. But the condition is right now is not the best. A number one tropical storm Chris is meandering in the exact same spot. And when a tropical system is staying in the exact same spot over the warm water, it's going to take up and absorb all that warm water and just leave the cold water left. So right now the water temperature temperatures where Chris is right now is kind of dropping. And B, Tropical Storm Chris was dealing with some dry air, and there's still dry air present in the whole entire area, which is gonna keep it from major hurricane status. But even when Chris does become a hurricane, most likely when I post this video, gotta check National Hurricane Center for that. I'll put the link in the description. But even when Chris becomes a hurricane, it's not going to affect any land as a hurricane or a warm tropical system in general. It's going to turn extratropical and affect Newfoundland and Canada. The time frame for that right now is about Thursday night to Friday afternoon. That's the time frame for this tropical system hitting Newfoundland. But as an extratropical system, it's not going to have a warm core center because of the cold waters of the Arctic raining down. Most models have Chris peaking out in about 48 hours as just a mid-level category 1 hurricane. It's definitely not going to get above major hurricane status, which is Cat 3, because of the environmental conditions I've just said. But Chris is in the kind of same situation as Burl. Once they're done for the next 40 hours and 24 hours for Burl affecting the land, Chris is affecting it by the waves, and Burl with the thunderstorms. Once those two systems are just affecting the land in the short term, and then the long term, it's just gonna go out to sea and dissipate there. But what really has me worried is not in the Atlantic, not in the Eastern Pacific, but in the Western Pacific, where we're dealing with Typhoon Maria. And if that Maria hurricane name rings a bell, because I actually mentioned it in this video previously, and also because it strongly affected the Eastern Caribbean islands as a category 5/4 hurricane. Ridiculous. The Maria name is now officially retired in the Atlantic, but that does not mean it's retired in the Western Pacific name. So we're gonna see Typhoon Maria now. Typhoon Maria right now is a 130 mile per hour category 3 hurricane, looking absolutely mighty. It has an eye that is just super cleared out, looking 30 to 40 miles wide. This typhoon is gorgeous, but it's going to affect land, and that's going to be super scary. Tomorrow morning, it's going to make landfall as a major hurricane in some Japanese islands to the east of Taiwan, and then it's going to make a super close call just to the north of the whole island of Taiwan, close to the capital city of Taipei. And after it makes that super close call with Taipei, Taiwan, as around a 110 mile per hour hurricane, it's then going to make landfall in China as a strong Cat 2, Cat 1 hurricane. And yes, I'm calling hurricane, I'm supposed to be calling it typhoon, but it's the exact same thing. No name difference there, no structure difference. It's still a spinning counterclockwise hurricane. Hopefully all the people in the southern Japanese islands, the people in Taiwan, and the people right along the coast next to Taiwan in China, hopefully they're taking all the necessary precautions for this tropical entity, because this storm is looking fierce. Do you just look at the eye? The eye is, oh my, it's cleared out, big and bulky. Ooh, this is definitely an interesting situation that's gonna unfold over the next 2 days, because as right now we can see Typhoon Maria's strong eye wall on those Japanese islands radar. Ooh, that's gonna look scary for them. I'm hoping the best for all the people in the path of that Typhoon Maria. That's super scary. I'm hoping the best for Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, dealing with the after effects of what was once Hurricane Bora. This was once a hurricane with a little eye. It was so cute. But thank you for watching this tropical update. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one for another tropical update.